Right. Good afternoon, everyone. We'll call the emergency meeting, I guess we're calling it, to order. If you could please silence your cell phones and wash your hands. City Clerk, if you'd call the roll, please.
Mayor Owen.
Here.
Vice Mayor Cody.
Here.
Commissioner Hartman.
Here.
Commissioner McGirt.
Here.
Commissioner Sacks.
Here.
All right. So, gentlemen, really, main purpose of today, no formal agenda. Main purpose is to pass this declaration of a state of emergency, which, as you all know, really just allows us some protective measures that are in place, allows us to be eligible for some reimbursements starting from this point forward, and to make special purchases as may be needed, bypassing some of our normal procedures. So it's one of the main purposes. I should note, Carrie is here remotely. She's on the phone listening in, and will chime in if needed. If there's questions for Carrie, just make sure, kind of identify it ahead of time so she can make sure to be listening in. She is around her elderly parents and her children, and she was actually the spring break week. She's supposed to be off this entire week, but she's working the entire week, but she's doing it remotely. So thank you, Carrie, for being here virtually. So, gentlemen, I would propose let's get this item out of the way first, and then we'll kind of open it up for public comments and anything the commission has to say as well. So to have a motion to adopt Declaration 1-20.
So move. Second.
All right. Any questions, comments on that? City Clerk, if you'd call the roll.
Vice Mayor Cody.
Yes.
Commissioner Hartman.
Yes.
Commissioner McGirt.
Yes.
Commissioner Sacks.
Yes.
Mayor Owen.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. With that, let's, if everybody's okay, let's hear from the public. We got a lot of folks here, so let's hear from the public. Any comments, concerns, questions they might have, and then we'll open it up for commission comments. As we did last time, we'll try to keep this fairly casual, but do want to maintain some decorum. Certainly speak to the mic, come to the mic, try to observe the 3 minutes, but I'm a little bit liberal with that today. So. Public participation. I should have acknowledged previous Mayor Adam Behringer here with us today in a whole different capacity, but it's always good to acknowledge that. So, all right. Any members of the public wish to speak?
Randy Herman, 108 Esther Street. More of a question and then maybe a suggestion. I was just at the intersection of Peninsula and Flagler and sat through 5 lights where a truck got jammed trying to turn. And I'm sure you've gotten a lot of emails from people over Sunday. Sunday was pretty much a traffic backlog of the entire island. And it looks like, unless there's something done about the beaches, that's my question, which I'm mixed about. Is there something that could be done about the timing of that light? Because I've talked to my neighbors that live on Peninsula, and they said on Sunday the amount of exhaust that was coming into their houses, because everyone was just sitting, it was totally blocked from Dunes Park all the way to 3rd most of the day. So I don't know if something could be done about that light, if that's the only thing, but certainly if people are going to still be coming in large numbers, is there something we could do to assist that? Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor, Commissioners, Adam Behringer, 3406 South Atlantic Avenue. Whew, it's taking the coronavirus to get me back in here, but I'm here. Listen, I just want to speak on behalf of the restaurant industry here. As you know, I mean, this is probably the busiest month for all of us, and I applaud the actions of Governor Ron DeSantis, and I just hope that that's what we'll uphold, and we'll continue to monitor that. And I know with most of us in the restaurants, preemptively, we've been doing, obviously we adhere to the Department of Health standards, sanitation, and I know we've all ramped that up, whether we're asking our front of the house staff to wear gloves. We've removed 50% of our bar stools. We're seating every other table to try and maintain the social distancing. I think that while This is a very serious pandemic. I mean, no one could have planned for this. But I think that as a whole, what we're doing is very responsible to continue to stay open. The people who are healthy, that feel like they want to go out and eat, they have the option to do so. The people that do not want to go out and eat, then they can self-quarantine as recommended by the president, the governor, et cetera. So I just hope that that's what the direction of the commission takes. That, I just want to thank you.
Thank you. Other members of the public wish to speak? All right. Seeing none. We'll close public participation as we did last time. We may ping folks with questions if we have specific things to cover. We'll open it up to comments or questions from the commission. I'll tell you from my vantage point, I applaud as you said, the governor for doing what he did. I'm happy to report many of our local businesses that I'd already talked to, our restaurants, they were proactively doing many of those same measures that have been recommended. So, putting people ahead of profits. And so I don't think that is hurting us. And I certainly think we just continue to follow for those type of things, the restrictions of alcohol sales, those type of things. We continue to follow what comes down from the federal or state level. I don't see a need to put anything on top of that locally, but certainly open to ideas or observations from others on the commission or anything else that we might need to cover. I don't have anything else. I think all the events are kind of winding down. I don't think we have a lot else, but comments, questions from the commission. Commissioner Colodi.
The executive order issued by the governor, I think, should be guidance for us. As I've said previously, I don't think it's our responsibility to govern above that. I honestly don't even believe we should govern what people do on their private properties, whether they have a restaurant or they don't have a restaurant. So hopefully everybody will follow the governor's guidelines. I do have one. There is a problem that I don't think we're capable of addressing. Just going back to my earlier years, the very first time I came to Florida was a spring break, and I must say that I didn't have very much sense at that time or social responsibilities. And I think a lot of our visitors that are coming now behave the same way. You can't hold their youth against them, but it would be nice to see if there's a way that some common sense would sink in. I get more emails now from residents beachside that say they are being overwhelmed by the younger crowd that's coming in. So to them, I hope that they exhibit the restraint that they can. They're not invincible, and they could become carriers. They could spread the disease. So I applaud our restaurants for following the guidelines, and we should limit our special events to what's been recommended. And the quicker we act, the stronger we are in this regard, the quicker we will weather this and get back to normal.
Okay. On the beaches, I know that's come up. I'll share what I know. I've said this publicly as well. Obviously, those are not in the city's control. Those are county assets. Those are under county control. I think the latest that I'm hearing out of there is that they will, that they won't be taking any measures to close those beaches. I've also been in contact with the mayor of Cocoa Beach, and we have committed that we'd try to coordinate that. So if they're going to close, they'll give us a heads up, because he's worried about, it's a balloon, and you close one, it just kind of pushes everything one way or the other. So the city of Cocoa is meeting tonight at 6 o'clock for their discussion, so they'll obviously know what Volusia County has decided. I think they're discussing it as we speak. So they'll know what they've decided. So, but again, those are things that neither of those situations are decided behind this dais, unfortunately. So my stance has been all along, we'll support whatever decision is made by the county. It's a tough decision, just like the ones we had to make on closing events. I hold them up, because it's a tough decision for them to make, and certainly no matter what they make, there are folks that will disagree with it, maybe even folks here on this commission that would disagree with it. But I think we support whatever decision they make, and then if there's any measures we can do locally, certainly we'll try to do that. Like the thing that the one gentleman pointed out, if there's stuff we can do, we can work on that by working with staff to make other staff aware, so. Other comments, questions? Commissioner McGurk?
Thank you, Mayor. You know, as a small business owner, I sat here last Friday and I said, let's not focus on having the best March we can have or the best April we've ever had. Let's simply focus on making sure we can stay open, we can pay our bills, we can pay our employees. So I'm excited about what I've seen in this community with my fellow restaurants. Everybody's being proactive. Continue that, be diligent, go above and beyond what you can do or what you're being legislated to do by the governor, and really show a strong support for making sure people do not get sick, because the worst case scenario is we all do shut down. And I had a brief conversation with a number of restaurant owners outside. We all know what that means. We know what that means for us as owners. We know what that means for employees. We know what that means. It will devastate businesses and families. So let's be as proactive as we can, be very liberal with the sanitizer, and let's not try to, I have a lot of confidence in the restaurant owners around this town to do what they need to be doing. Thank you, guys. And girls.
While we get other comments, staff, is there any items you need to bring before us to get decisions on that? Or are we
No, just
all
want
good?
to make you aware that we are drafting a personnel policy for our employees for different cases. Working on employees, if they have to work remotely from home. If they have any kids on spring break and it's extended. So the policy will be coming to you on the 24th for the final approval.
And I would say if between now and, what is today? If between now and the 24th, if you have circumstances, especially, parents, kids, just do the right thing.
We have been
Yeah.
taking some exceptions, so.
Yeah, we don't have to wait for that personnel policy to be approved if you're doing the right thing, so. Other comments, questions?
I would just ask that maybe we reach out to the UC to see about waiving some of the shut-offs and stuff.
I did that 2 days ago.
Okay.
I haven't heard back from them yet. They were supposedly discussing it today in a staff meeting, so we'll hopefully have something coming out. I know FPL has done that.
Yes.
But obviously for us, it's the UCB. I've done that.
Mayor, their UC staff is here and they might have.
Oh, hey, sorry. Any updates to share with us? Can you just come here? Thank you. Sorry to put you on the spot. We're all on the spot right now.
We will be extending or suspending disconnects for non-payment to May 1st right now.
Excellent. Thank you all so much.
We'll be putting out a message today to our
Perfect.
customers. So.
Perfect. We'll help you share that message. There you go. Other
Mr.
comments?
Mayor?
Commissioner Sacks, yeah.
Yes, I didn't have the, let's just call it pleasure of not being able to attend due to illness, and believe me, it's not COVID, it's just the regular flu, at the last meeting. It was encouraging,
Slide over here.
yeah. Keep 6 foot apart.
That's right.
It was encouraging to hear the words of the commission, and especially the words of some of our merchants who are really stepping up to the plate, because a lot of the residents are very fearful, and rightfully so. In the face of uncertainty, people can panic and have, and they've been in touch with me, and I've tried to reassure them. Again, today I've gotten some communiques from merchants in the community, and they are doing what they can to step up to the plate. And these, at this point, are little things. Reduce capacities, possibly have drive up to window and purchase some of your foods. As far as that goes, try to maintain a modicum of cleanliness and order, because I know that when people imbibe, they tend to get a little bit loose. I've been there, I've done that. We all tend to get a little lax. So we do see Flagler get crowded. We do see other venues get crowded. And I hope and believe that our merchants who own those businesses will do their due diligence It seems that the state of Florida has taken a lot of this control out of our hands by issuing their executive order. In a way, this is good. We don't have to regulate. Hopefully, you will self-regulate, and you have guidance from the state to do that. So hopefully, we can get through this in the next couple of weeks. And I'm sure you've all seen that curve. We hope to reduce the height of that curve and the length of that curve. And if we take those measures now and feel a little bit of pain now, we can expect a much greater gain in the future. I would rather see a little bit of pain, possibly, people may have to have less income, but down the road, they'll still be healthy enough to come back to work. And that's the most important thing. As far as the residents go, I think there's been a sentiment that government has not been forthright. And I can speak for myself and my colleagues. I think we've been forthright. I think we've been trying to get you the best information as possible. But there are those uncertainties that even the CDC does not know. I had a chance to listen to the county meeting on this issue. They had at least an hour of discussion on it. And some of those uncertainties were things like contact surfaces and community spread. They're still quite unsure about how those things are reacting with our population. If I touch this, will a disease stay on that wood for 2 hours or 24 hours? They're still not quite sure. They're still looking into the nature, the very basic nature of this disease. That's why we're calling it a novel disease. We're very unsure in these times. But I think we're taking the best measures that we can. As far as the beach side goes, I've had several constituents that have asked us to close the beach. And I did follow what the county had said in response to Fort Lauderdale and Miami Beach's closures. People have asked us to close our beach. What the county had said was that was not possible to do because if they closed the beach, cars would end up in our parking lots, they would end up in our neighborhoods, and then we would have an even worse problem. I'm not so sure I subscribe to that, but nonetheless, we don't have the power to make the county close the beach. My concern is the multitudes of young people who feel healthy, who've come from communities where there may be spread and they don't even know it. So we have so many points that are unsure, unsaid, and we have to put up with that. So my best advice would be to have a staycation, as our counselor Carrie is. She decided not to go away, and that was good advice. So she's making the best of it and staying home. And as a lot of us locals know, when there's a lot of traffic, we avert the traffic or we stay home. So those are some of the things that you can do for your own safety, and hopefully we can get through this quickly. I don't want to belabor the situation, but it is something serious that we're facing. One thing was deeply concerning was that all the surrounding areas, including Daytona Beach, have shut down their venues. Now, thankfully, Bike Week is ending, but we're still going to be kind of the center for Easter break. So we're going to see a lot of kids. And another thing that's concerning me is that how is the beach patrol going to separate parties of 10? Because now we've reduced congregations that are dangerous of 250 and up, down to 50 and up, down to 10 and up. So I would advise you, we have a large body here today. Try to stay apart from each other and do your best to protect yourselves and your families.
Okay.
Thank you for your time.
All right. So city manager's passing out a list of events. I think we've canceled everything through the end of March. We have another meeting at the end of March, or I say postponed. That's for you, Mr. England. We've postponed events to the end of March. And I think we have another meeting on the 24th. My suggestion would be we talk about April at that time. We'll have the latest, greatest info at that time. We'll talk about these April events, one of which is the Horse and Around event, which is we know this is a favorite, a lot of big events. We got proms coming up. Geez, who wants to cancel prom? I don't know. I'm gonna let you make the motion on that one. So, we have a Sinatra wedding. All right, yeah. So we'll talk about those at our next meeting. Any questions? You've heard our comments from those restaurateurs on the, we know what you know at this point on the government's order, or the governor's order. After 5 p.m., if you derive 50% of your revenue from alcoholic beverages, they'll suspend the sale of beverages. My assumption is dining is open to stay, but suspending beverages, alcoholic beverage sales. So hopefully you've got this order. If not, staff can provide it. But any questions or clarity needed from our restaurant community or others in the community, we'll open up public participation one more time for any questions or clarity you might need. All right. Seeing none, again, we really do appreciate it. I mean, I think times like this, we see it in the hurricanes, but times like this is when communities prove what they are, what we all mean to each other. So thank you all for that. Sorry, you had one last comment?
Yes, at our meeting on the 24th, I would like that limited to items that are related to the virus issue, or there are certain other time-sensitive items where we have to make responses by the end of the month. I know we have some groups of citizens that have special causes and like to fill the chamber, and I don't think that's what we want to do. As much as I love seeing the public, I'm surprised so many are here today. And they're not sitting 6 feet apart. So I would like to keep our agenda to the point where it deals with those types of items and not bring out the masses, so to speak.
Agreed. I think we talked about that last time, and we were going to do that. So we may have some second readings that we need to just check off because you've already published, and we don't want to pay to publish again.
Actually, this morning, the city attorney and the city clerk and we reviewed the entire agenda, and we reduced quite a bit of it. So the only items we put on the agenda are time sensitive, and that they must be approved. So otherwise, we took it out.
Thank you.
Okay.
And Mr. Mayor?
Yep.
If nobody has anything else, as usual, I had forgotten an important issue. I'm very pleased to let you all know that Fire Chief Sean Vandermark is our EMS coordinator for this impending issue or disaster. It is definitely something that is worldwide in scope, and our very small town hopefully can get through this together. I found out that our hospital, our small hospital, Advent, does have limited capacity. I understand that they're at 70% now. The big concern that was going around was respirators and those types of equipment. Hopefully we can all stay pretty healthy. I believe if at the worst, we would have resources like the National Guard and the Army to help us out. Hopefully we won't even have to entertain that. I noticed the hospital already has an isolation tent, and the chief has assured me that he has enough personal protection equipment to protect the first responders that hopefully will not have to come to your house. So we're in good hands with our public safety. So I hope that's reassuring in the smallest case.
Agreed. All right. Thank you all for being here. If you need anything, reach out to any member of us or the city staff. We'll do what we can to help you. Thank you all. Meeting adjourned.
Awesome.